Hello and welcome to the Texas Truck Channel. This week we have the Toyota Tacoma. This is a 2021. It is a TRD off-road trim. And this one has a special dealer installed option we'll get into here in just a second. And this is going to be just a walk around. We're going to show you some things that don't make it to our forward view. Stay tuned for that, coming out about a week after this airs. So, our favorite feature so far with this has got to be the green paint. It is not common enough in today's age to find green paint. They're starting to make a resurrection and we are excited about that. And this one is not the TRD Pro, but we have some add-ons on this one, including this skid plate down here. And we also have a lift kit that is from TRD. It's $1,500 plus labor to be installed, but it comes with a warranty and all that good stuff. Has Bilstein shocks, gives you about a 2-inch lift. And if you want a full technical review of that, we will get wheels off on this in the full review and dive into all the specs of that lift. Coming around, we have side steps as well. And in the rear, you also have more of that suspension. This happens to have a lot of the mechanical goodies that you find on the top trim of the TRD Pro. And that means the multi-train select and also the locking rear diff, which is the biggest deal I think of this. Now let's check out the interior before we get too far along. Now, looking here, you'll see what is about a 5-year-old design, which is fine because, you know what, it still holds water and most of its competition is just as aged, except for the Frontier and the Gladiator. Now, we do like the design in here. We think it looks good. We love that you have traditional gauges in the middle and you have a button for everything, which is cool. You don't have a lot of haptic functions that you have to do on a touch screen or a touch panel for HVAC. Everything is just a knob, a rotary, a dial, a hard button for blind spot monitoring, transmission button, parking sensors. I mean, you can just, everything is tangible and easy to turn on and off. That's your wireless phone charger right there. This does have Apple CarPlay, and we happen to have the JBL stereo, which is quite good. This speaker system has good component speakers, both door panel, tweeters in the corner right here, and also a sub in the rear. We'll show you that in a minute. Now, one of the things about this that I'm not crazy about is that I'm about 6'4", 6'5", depending on the weather, and this interior is definitely not benchmarked for people that are that height. If you're over 6, you just need to sit here and make sure it works for you. This has a sunroof, so I'm a little bit tighter than usual. But I find myself, I can't sit straight. I have to kind of lean over to make it work for me. But again, a non-sunroof might handle that. Ours has the automatic transmission. Although we were very curious to drive this with a 6-speed, I think that might be a game changer on this thing to make it that much more appealing to some people. Here's your MTS selection right there. It's a rotary dial. You basically can pick your speed off-road. And the multi-train select, you can change modes in the center cluster of what you're doing. And that's your diff lock button. Now, something we've learned the hard way is that to use the diff lock button, you have to be in 4 low. And we found that on this model in particular, there's a particular setting you have to go 2 high to 4 high, let it set and lock, and then go to 4 low, and then do the diff locks. There's a lot of stages to it. It all works flawlessly, but you do have to follow those steps. It's not as simple as just pulling a knob like on a Ford or pushing a button on a Ram. We both find the Frontier is similar to this too. They're a little bit finicky to engage that locker. So just steps to go through. All right. Oh, also one of the best parts of the interior, proper parking brake. We love that. No push button here. Let's check out the back. We get a lot of questions about this on mid-sizes. We do have good cup holders. We've got 2 in the door right here. You've also got 2 in the center console right there, like a full-size truck would do. And this is the gap behind me. I'm a little bit taller, so the seat's back further than a lot of people would have, but that's just how it is. With the sunroof, you do have this hump right here for the motor, but you have a good cutout for the headroom of the rear seat occupants. Something we think that's pretty cool on this is that you can flip the seat forward and you have storage on this side. I have the headrest off of the other seat for the booster seat, but you have a good place to store it right here. You also have a clip. If you were to leave this down, you could clip your seatbelt so it won't rattle. And I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, I've got that front seat forward now. I want to show you what you can do back here. You can lift this guy forward. And there's a bit of a trick. You've got to take the headrest, and the headrest will actually flip forward and stay at an angle, or you can take the headrest off completely, take the headrest, and you put it in here. There's 2 little slots. That guy stays there. And then the back folds down. Now you've got a flat surface. And this will do the same thing on the other side. I'm not going to do it with the other side because the car seat's in the way. But then that clip comes into play right here, just like a good crossover would do. Just like that. Now this guy won't rattle, and you've got flat storage. You can do it on both sides, which is pretty cool. Flip that back up. You also have underseat storage right there. And again, on the other side, you don't have the storage like this on the other side because there's a subwoofer back here for the JBL stereo. So keep that in mind. If you're an audiophile and you get to the JBL, you're going to lose a little bit of behind-seat storage. Now let's check out the bed. This is a talking point for Tacoma specifically that we don't get on a lot of other brands. Tape and tailgate, which we like, and a composite bed. You don't need a bed liner on this thing because it's already got a layer of composite over the plastic bed. Back here we have a 400 watt plug. Looks very serious, but really it's just good enough to charge, you know, laptops and things like that. You can't put a coffee pot on it. That's our biggest overlanding test. It won't beat that. You also have a little cubby hole here, which is cool. And we found that it fits these adjustable bed tie downs really well. You can take them off and plop them right in here. It's pretty neat. And also, if you have little kids that like to play in the back of the truck, they'll be able to lose that door, so keep an eye on that. Now, we do have a towing package on this one. This one also happens to have the TRD exhaust, which does make this 3.5 sound a lot better. But it does drone a little bit on the highway. Again, we'll get into that later. Okay, with that covered, let's check under the hood and see what we have to work with. It's a heavy steel hood. Okay, a surprisingly heavy steel hood. Under here we have actually a lot of room, and that's because this chassis in 4Runner form has had a V8 in it before. I can tell you right now that it could probably be done again if they really wanted to. Now something cool about this one is we have the TRD cold air, not a cold air intake, but a reusable filter. It's about $90. It's similar to a K&N. The idea is that it's a lifetime filter. You just clean it instead of replacing it. This is the D4S 3.5 V6 that we see in everything Lexus Toyota. It's a great engine. Loves to rev. Unfortunately, in this setup, the gearing is not really ideal for it to rev. But nonetheless, it gets the job done. 0-60 feels quite brisk. And when we take it easy and lock the cruise on 70, we're getting over 20 miles a gallon. So no shame there. With all that out of the way, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the full review, and we'll get this thing up the hill test too. It's gonna be pretty fun. Looking forward to it.